saw a terrific match just before this one as Texas squeaking by BYU in
and a lot of pop, but she also has double-doubles, which means that she's going to play 6 rotations. She's going to be digging out of the back row, and she's been able to put on those big performances against really big teams. When it's a high RPI team, she shows up and performs even better. Most of her best performances coming out of the top 75 RPI teams or against those squads. And then, of course, Abby Cole, we've talked about her before. The Big Ten knows her well. No one's been able to slow her down too much this season.
Well, here's what's at stake this evening, the first regional final for Creighton as they are on a 22-match win streak, and for Michigan, well, they are looking to advance to the regional finals since they did so in 2012. That Wolverines team went all the way to the Final Four. And the Blue Jays are led by Kirsten Bernthal Booth in her 14th season, 4 straight NCAA appearances, and she has made this team into a respectable contender on the national scene. On the other side, Mark Rosen in his 18th season, the program's winningest coach, and he's taken them to the round of 16 now 5 times. So his Wolverines coming in their highest seed in program history, sitting at 24-10 on the season. As Lydia Dimke, we mentioned the Big East Player of the Year, also one of the captains for this crew, starts things off. Tough serve, starts things off. Tough serve from Dimke. And there's Corey Crocker already getting into the action, the redshirt freshman middle blocker.
Well, one question coming into this match for Michigan, at least, is their freshman Mackenzie Welsh. She's the setter, but was dealing with a little bit of a left arm issue after running into a teammate during practice this week. So we're waiting to see how her health shows up and how she feels. I think we'll be able to tell throughout this match.
Well, I tell you, the Blue Jays feeling good thus far. As Creighton coming up with the point. Try to get dug out there, and you see Mackenzie Walsh.
Blocker at Creighton, so she has been through the fire, the ups and downs, and now she's been able to make it to a few NCAA tournaments, and now sitting here in the regional semis.
And Cloth, once again, she likes to slide in towards the middle of the court, and it's working well for her.
And Lydia Dimke doing a good job with the ball placement, knowing exactly where Cloth likes to receive it, knowing exactly the advantage that she can give her with a one-on-one matchup on the outside.
Here's Cole in the block on the right side with Dimke and Marissa Wilkinson. Once again, Cole trying to go right into those blue jerseys. And straight down the pipe out of the back row, the attack from Jaylee Winters.
How about the block touches, though? Shoulder to shoulder, Dimke doing a great job setting it up. Wilkinson getting shoulder to shoulder, and then Winters coming through with the back row attack to put the
in with 3, and Jaylee Winters leading the way for the Blue Jays with 4 on the serve. Well, the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship coverage continues with the national semifinals Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Good rallies going back and forth, and strong play at the net for the Blue Jays.
And it seems like Creighton, they're not playing super high above the net. They're not going up to find the highest contact, but they're playing quick, fast press on their block. I mean, they're right there at the right moment. It's timed perfectly, and you can just kind of tell that they have been trained to take up a lot of space, but not necessarily go straight up or high. They're taking up space, and you see it there again with the block back. And again, with another block back.
Very well-disciplined group. And you see there Winters watching that one bounce out.
That's a good way to say it, just disciplined blockers. They're not getting used right now. They're getting up and they're getting over quickly, but right at the right time. It's timed well. In Michigan, they set a higher ball, so you have to wait a little bit longer, but they're waiting really well and staying disciplined on their block.
Just think about this Creighton group who a double contact called on Creighton. So it's 22 all.
You could see the ball leaving Jaylee Winters' hands as it was spinning out. Usually that's a sign that the hands contacted at different times, and that would be called a double. When you set, both hands need to touch the ball at the same time.
Megan Ballinger on the serve. And they're just trading points back and forth now.
It's a nice watch, too, on that inline. Of course, you usually want to follow the ball all the way out. Sometimes you just have to get out of the way. But recognizing when the ball is coming above your hips, a lot of times it's out.
A tough serve from Claire Kiefer Wright, and it's set point Wolverines. So a timeout taken by the Creighton Blue Jays.
Third set. So they had the opportunity to close it out very early, but I think they just wanted to give us a great match.
Yeah.
They wanted things to keep going here in Austin, give their fans a little taste of what they could expect on Saturday night.
Well, certainly they did that. Some hard racing moments for sure. As now we're even at 24 all. Remember, the first 4 sets goes to 25. You have to win by 2. Good swing. And Welsh. Mackenzie Welsh with the setter's dump.
Good decision. Front row setter. Welsh can be very active if she wants to because she's got the size, she's got the height, and when she's pushed to the net, just a good decision going ahead and going over on 2.
Winters tried to keep that one alive, but Michigan takes the first set. 26-24 as the two crews switch sides. It's the Wolverines taking the opening frame here in the regional semifinal from Austin, Texas. In this regional, come back for more. We talked about just how steady of a leader she's been for Michigan. Able to keep that one alive. Wow, Jenna Lurd laying out and pops right back up. This one just spinning off the top of the tape.
Still a great hustle by Lurd, though, just keeping that ball alive. The hustle to stay in the play. And then Smith getting up, taking advantage of the defense that was running to get back in place, just trying to reposition themselves after the great hustle.
Some digs and making sure she was aware of where she was on the court. Didn't want to run into the stands.
You see the up by Winter. She tried to stay in there and stick that dig, but that velocity, it was coming.
And they watch that one go out, and Winters celebrates that point with Brittany Witt.
And that's what you're supposed to do when the ball is a serve, it's going out of bounds. You track it all the way back to the end line. I mean, you follow it there. You do not want that ball to land in and end up being an ace.
Dinky back to close, right to Murphy, dug out. And Crocker somehow got a hand on it after losing her footing in the middle. So she'll take a second to tie her shoe, make sure she's all good. Mark Rosen wants to make sure the middle blocker is good as well. Kelly Murphy, 44 white, left pin, got it.
Left with that one-on-one block. Kelly Murphy going down the line with a great swing there. Good decision by Welsh. You can see the block was pulled. Smith was pulled in because Abby Cole was going in for a one tempo right in front of the setter. So Welsh knew that the one-on-one battle was going to be out to the pin.
Welsh to Cole again. She's feeding the hot hand. Good recognition by the freshman setter.
Definitely tracking Abby Cole now, seeing where she is. If you have a good pass, find a way to get it to her. And there, Cole going right down the line of Winters. But she also had the seam there. It was a little bit of a late block coming in from Lauren Smith.
You feed number 5 in blue on the outside. That's Jaylee Winters, and she can get it done for you. Set point.
Its first national title with Texas. So that was just an extraordinary time to be there. What a great national semifinal, and obviously Michigan trying to get there again. Would have to battle past this Creighton team, though.
Good look at Jared Elliott, who took over the program in 2001, scouting out his opponent for tomorrow. So were some of the Longhorns players as well, wanting to see who they will face. And I got to give credit to this Longhorn fan base, just loving volleyball, much like they do in the state of Nebraska. Creighton's very aware of that, but just for them to stay and watch and witness some terrific volleyball action this evening.
Got to scout out the team. They're helping Coach Elliott get the scout together.
Here's Winters, and closing things out for the Creighton Blue Jays. So they even it at 1-1 as they head into the locker room. And this one is going to go for a little bit, Maria, just because each team just looks so comfortable in what they're doing. First set, we thought it was Creighton, but Michigan took it. Now it's the Blue Jays who go into the locker room, evening it up at 1 apiece in this regional semifinal.
Away with the win in the long ones. That's keeping pressure on Creighton, not hitting the ball out of bounds, limiting their errors right now.
That one kept in play by Carly Scott, 18 in white. Kelly Murphy going for it. Close to the net and slamming it down is Claire Kiefer Wright. Set point, Michigan. This Wolverines crew hitting .429 in the third set. And pushed over by Abby Cole.
And how about that? A miscommunication on the Creighton side ends in Michigan walking away with their second set. Just need one more to advance to the regional final, and an opportunity now after playing so well down the stretch. You mentioned that hitting percentage
in that third set, but in the fourth set it's been a struggle. Again, great defense and Diggs keeping it in, but Jenna Lurd, who slides into the bench.
I thought that ball was down, but Jenna Lurd having the last say, getting up under it, keeping that ball alive, and the hustle paying off for Michigan.
And Winters bringing the thunder out of the back row. She put some sauce on it.
Yeah, she did.
First regional final appearance.
good job that time of Mackenzie Welsh. She jumped with the set, so that forces a blocker to jump with you. So that allows Abby Cole to kind of get up against one blocker.
And then Welsh using the net to help out.
We're down, you're just thinking, how are they going to generate some of the ability to come back? But not only that, you got to play clean volleyball because you just can't give up points at that point.
So either Creighton or Michigan will face off against the Longhorns tomorrow, and watch out for this surge from the Wolverines here late in the fourth set. Wilkinson. When they've needed her, she's delivered.
She certainly has, especially whenever it's been a one-on-one block. She is keeping it out in front of her. She is cutting it away from the block. And there's just no chance to play defense with the speed of her arm swing right now.
Abby Cole answering right back.
Now Michigan really has to protect their serve. Can they get this closer? In order to do so, defense is going to become a key for the Wolverines.
Creighton on the point, so here's set point for the Blue Jays. Not ready to give it up just yet is Kelly Murphy. The Wolverines up 2-1.
3 set points to work with. Just can't let Michigan get to 24 if you're Creighton right now. Got to win by 2.
And they call upon Lauren Smith, the 6'3" senior middle blocker. Allows the Creighton Blue Jays to stay alive for yet another set. We're going to a 5th. The Blue Jays have won 22 straight. Can they keep that streak alive? Great dig by Lurd. Murphy hits it over. 44 and white. Here's Dimke back with winners. Well, net violation called on Creighton. So even though that one sailed long for Murphy, the Wolverines still get the point.
And great work by Jenna Lurd, libero for Michigan, putting in work with one-handed digs, keeping the ball alive.
This time a net violation called on the Wolverines.
You can see both teams really pressing at the net, trying to get great penetration on that block. And they recognize they're the first line of defense, and so that's why early I think we're seeing those 2 net violations. Both teams working hard, trying to get a touch on the block.
Well, Creighton with the point. They say maybe it was
like the call is that a Michigan player in the net. They held up number 1, Claire Kiefer-Wright.
Right there was Carly Scott off the big swing from Winters. And the first to 5 in this one. The Creighton Blue Jays, you got to go to 15, but win by 2 in set number 5. Advantage for Creighton in this 5th set, and they're trying to advance on to the regional final to face off against the Texas Longhorns. Abby Cole coming off the right side for Michigan.
Now Abby Cole goes out. She's a senior, but you would love to see her have maybe one more rotation if you're Michigan right now to be able to get her going and try to fuel some of that fire. But now you do have the senior. Kelly Murphy is in the front row on the outside. And you have Claire Kiefer-Wright in the middle.
Lauren Smith has come up with big swings and big hits throughout this match. And the 5th-year senior for Creighton trying to finish off the Wolverines. So 7-3 now the spread here.
Remember, we saw Texas battle back from 8-4 being down against BYU. But Michigan certainly does have to kick it in gear soon. Earn this serve back and battle back with a string of points.
Great recognition from Jenna Lurd, the libero in the blue jersey on Michigan's side. And a smack down from Jaylee Winters out of the back row.
Something so special about that sophomore. When she swings out of the back row, it's coming with just as much velocity as it would if she was in the front row. And you see her cool, calm, collected, doesn't matter where she's getting that attack, and gives Creighton the lead as they switch sides with Michigan now. Have to be feeling pretty comfortable about where they are here in this 5th set. Now the race to 10 is on between these two squads.
And for Jaylee Winters, you know, Coach Booth said that she's been good enough both this year and last year to win Big East Player of the Year honors, but you got to tip your hat, of course, to Lydia Dimke coming in and doing a terrific job setting up all of the hitters. Lydia Dimke, the junior, has been able to do a terrific job setting up her hitters. 53 assists on the night to go along with 14 digs as 4 different Creighton hitters with double figures in kills, including this young lady who's leading the way with 20. That's Jaylee Winters. A lift called on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, if you're going for that one, you probably want to close your fist or close your hand to be able to pop that ball back up.
Joust at the net between the two setters. Dimke wins that one.
Double called that time on Mackenzie Welsh. You see the ball spinning kind of out of her hands. Remember, both hands have to touch the ball at the same time as you're going up to set. So Michigan has no more timeouts at this point. So Coach Rosen has no more opportunities to kind of come and gather his team. It's left up to the senior leaders that you have out on the court to find a way to pull this team back together, battle back, being down now 11-4.
That's Kelly Murphy, along with Abby Cole. And Allie Davis on the court.
Now Crocker's coming back in. You're a rotation away from getting Abby Cole back in.
Marissa Wilkinson has really impressed this evening. Started all but one match in the last 3 years for the Blue Jays. Very good serve there from Creighton. And that one with a little authority.
Yes, a little exclamation point on the end of that pop. The Creighton Blue Jays are certainly up and out of their seats. They made the trip, and right now the Blue Jays are making it worth it.
The right back at you with Crocker on the block.
Abby Cole now in number 17 in white for Michigan. Opportunity for the senior to take over, but Michigan hanging on to that final thread right now.
Big front line of defense for the Wolverines. A nice swing there from Carly Scott. Her team struggled in 5-set matches, weren't able to necessarily close them out, but it was at one point during the season, within the last few weeks, that this team watched the high school state championships on TV, and they were yelling, "Go forward," and you got to get to the ball and all that good stuff. And so it was from that point that they were able to see what they needed to do on the court when they were in these types of situations to develop some of that mental toughness.
Exactly, that aggression. They saw those high schoolers tipping every single ball, and they felt like they weren't playing with the aggression. And she's like, yeah, look in the mirror, ladies. Sometimes we do that in fifth sets. So you're right, that's just changed the way that they perceive the game, the way that they play the game, especially down the stretch and in those fifth sets, which is why they've been able to get a win over Kansas in the fifth set. Be in this fifth set against Michigan, still playing with aggression and swinging and playing the same type of free ability that we saw early in the match.
Oh, the net violation called on Michigan, so that is now a match point situation for the Creighton Blue Jays. Remember, Michigan took the first set 26-24, tightly contested, and Creighton evened it up. It's been a exchange back and forth, and here Kinsey Crawford on the serve. They called that one in, and it's over. Creighton moving on to the regional final.
And how deserving that Jaylee Winters comes up with the final kill in this match. She's done it all, a double-double machine. But what an extraordinary team that Creighton has been all season, and down the stretch, even with their backs up against the wall, down in this match, able to push it into 5 and get a 15-7 win. I mean, they never, ever allowed Michigan to believe that they were going to win that fifth set. That's how they're able to advance.
First time, Maria, that they're moving on. And not only that, they get to extend their winning streak to 23. But nothing but joy and celebration tonight. See them hit the folks in the middle because they're moving on. Meanwhile, hats off to a Michigan crew and a team that was just terrific out of the Big Ten. They put up a great fight tonight. Congratulations to Mark Rosen and his Wolverines on a terrific season. It's the Blue Jays with their fans and the Blue Crew to have an opportunity to celebrate, but not for long because they have to turn around and prepare for a very tough Texas team.